this bye week was going to be quiet? You are crazy! While this team tries to recover from 6 straight losses that have us on the verge of collapse, Adam Peters is moving pieces like he is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. And I am telling you this, what is coming can change the entire future of this franchise. We have a mock draft that gives us explosive speed on both sides of the ball, roster moves that nobody saw coming, and a legendary quarterback returning home. But the question nobody is asking is, will it be enough to save this season and build something real? Stick around until the end because I guarantee that what I am going to reveal is going to leave your jaw on the floor. After years of watching this organization make questionable decisions in the draft, after watching how we wasted picks on players who never amounted to anything, we finally have Adam Peters at the helm. And let me tell you something, this man understands what we need. The experts at A to Z Sports just dropped their collaborative 3-round mock draft, and what they have for us is exactly what this team needs to compete in the NFC East. Now, I know what you are thinking, another mock draft? But listen to me closely, because this is different. With only 2 picks in the top 100, Peters cannot afford to miss. Every selection has to be a home run, and this mock draft has us adding speed where we need it most. In the first round, pick number 7, we have David Bailey, edge rusher from Texas Tech. And before you tell me another pass rusher, let me explain why this guy is special. Bailey has 12.5 sacks this season. Did you hear that? 12.5. But here comes the really crazy part. He has 71 pressures. 71. This man lives in the rival quarterback's backfield. And do you know what is most impressive? Bailey stands 6 feet 3 inches, weighs 250 pounds, and bends like he is made of rubber when coming off the edge. That combination of speed, power, and flexibility is exactly what we are missing. Now, I ask you, when was the last time we saw someone on our defense generate consistent pressure without having to send the full blitz? Ryan Roberts' analysis says that Bailey is not for everyone because his impact against the run is mediocre. And you know what? I respect that honesty. But let me tell you this, in today's NFL, where teams pass 70% of the time, having a guy who can destroy the pocket on 3rd and long is worth more than having an edge who is good against the run but cannot touch the quarterback. Look at the Cowboys. Micah Parsons is a phenomenon, but how many rings does Dallas have? Look at the Eagles with their expensive edge rushers. Where are they now? We need a guy who changes games in critical moments, and Bailey has that potential. With our pick number 7, this would be a steal. But wait, because here's where Peters demonstrates his genius. In the 3rd round, pick 71, they have us selecting Zachariah Branch, wide receiver from Georgia. And when I tell you who this guy is, you are gonna understand why this could be the most important selection of the draft. Branch stands 5 feet 10 inches, weighs 180 pounds, and when he has the ball in his hands, it is like watching lightning cross the field. This man is one of the fastest players in the draft. And do you know what that means for Jaden Daniels? It means he would finally have someone who can separate instantly, someone who can turn a 3-yard screen into a 60-yard touchdown. The numbers do not lie. Branch has 320 yards after the catch, placing in the top 20 in the country. His contested catch rate is 62.5%, and his drop rate is only 3.3%. Do you understand what that means? It means reliable hands on an explosive body. Georgia uses him mainly on screens because he is a nightmare in the open field. But I tell you this, imagine what Cliff Kingsbury could do with a player like that. Imagine the design plays, the motion plays, the opportunities to create mismatches. This guy has a man-to-man coverage grade of 86.2. 86. That is elite. Now, I know some are going to say, but what about Terry McLaurin? What about our other receivers? And I answer you, when has it ever been bad to have too much talent on offense? The Chiefs have Kelsey, Rice, and a bunch of weapons. The Niners have Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. Winning teams accumulate playmakers. They do not settle for 1 or 2. Branch in the 3rd round would be incredible value. While other teams are spending 1st-round picks on receivers, we would get explosive speed in the 3rd. That is what I call smart drafting. That is what Peters does better than anyone. And do you know what is best about all this? That with only 6 total picks in the draft, Peters could decide to trade back if we get a pick high enough. Imagine accumulating more draft capital, more opportunities to build depth. But if we stay where we are, Bailey and Branch give us exactly what we need, speed to attack the quarterback and speed to help ours. I ask you now, after 6 straight losses, after seeing how this defense cannot generate pressure and this offense falls short in critical moments, isn't this exactly what we need? Isn't this what we have been screaming for? The Giants are still aimless, looking for their identity. The Cowboys are paying massive contracts without results. The Eagles thought that with their aggressive moves they were going to dominate, but here we are, building the right way. Smart drafting, player development, sustainable building. This mock draft gives us hope. It gives us a vision of what this team could be when Peters finishes building his roster. And I firmly believe that if we execute this type of strategy, if we add explosive speed on both sides of the ball, we will be in a position to compete not just next year, but for years. If that surprises you, wait until you hear this, because while everyone thought the bye week was going to be quiet, Adam Peters was working behind the scenes making moves that could change the rest of our season. The team just announced a series of roster moves that have immediate implications for the last 6 weeks of the season. And when I explain what is happening, you are going to understand why Peters is the general manager we needed years ago. First, let's talk about Jacoby Jones. This wide receiver had been elevated from the practice squad for the game against the Dolphins in Spain, made his NFL debut with 11 offensive snaps, and produced a 25-yard reception on a single target. Now, after passing through waivers unclaimed, he is back on our practice squad. And why is this important? Because now that Jones has real game experience, now that he has proven he can contribute when given the opportunity, Peters can elevate him up to 3 more times in the last 6 weeks. That is roster flexibility. That is having options when you need them. But here comes what nobody is discussing. Why did Peters bring him back so fast? I tell you this, because he saw something in those 11 snaps. He saw potential. He saw a player who can help when Terry McLaurin needs a breather, when we need speed in specific situations. Now, the other move, we released Daryl Worley from the practice squad. Worley is a veteran safety who joined this season but never saw action. And although some might see this as a minor move, I ask you, what does it tell us about Peters' confidence in the safeties we have? Worley entered the league in 2016 as a third-round pick from West Virginia. He has played every year since then, but now he is looking for a new team if he wants to keep that streak active. And here is the interesting part, his last action was with the Titans in 2024. Why did we release him now? Because Peters is making room. He is preparing the roster for what is coming. And here is where things get really interesting. The team just opened the return windows from injured reserve for Will Harris and Drake Jackson. Do you understand what that means? It means we could have massive reinforcements returning just in time to face the Broncos in Week 14. Harris is a safety who gives us depth and experience in the secondary. Jackson is an edge rusher who can help generate pressure. These are not minor moves. These are reinforcements that could change the dynamic of our defense at the most critical moment of the season. But wait, because there is more. These moves come after we released Matt Gay following his 2-for-4 performance against the Dolphins and signed Jake Moody to replace him. Peters is not playing around. If you do not produce, if you do not meet the standard, there are consequences. Now, I ask you, when was the last time we saw a Commander's organization take such quick and decisive decisions? When was the last time we saw someone in the front office say this is not working and make immediate changes? For years we suffered with Dan Snyder keeping players out of loyalty, out of contracts, out of ego. For years we saw how this organization clung to bad decisions just to not admit mistakes. But Peters is different. Peters understands that in the modern NFL, you have to be agile, you have to adapt, you have to make tough decisions. Look at the Cowboys keeping expensive players who do not produce. Look at the Giants clinging to outdated veterans. We are doing the opposite. We are being smart, being strategic, being proactive. And here's what has me most excited. These moves during the bye week demonstrate that Peters is not resting. While the players recover, while the coaches adjust the game plan, Peters is building the best roster possible for the last 6 weeks. Will Harris and Jackson be able to make a difference? I believe yes. Can Jones become a consistent contributor? The potential is there. Was it right to release Worley and Gay? The results will tell, but I trust the process. Because at the end of the day, these moves are not just about the next 6 weeks. They are about establishing a culture. They are about saying here we produce or we get out. They are about building something sustainable, something real, something that takes us back to relevance. And just when you thought we were done, let me talk to you about something that reminds us why we love this sport. Marcus Mariota, Our backup quarterback is going to be the guest picker on College Game Day this Saturday when the program visits Eugene, Oregon for the game between the Ducks and USC. And although this does not change our situation in the standings, although it does not help us win games, there is something beautiful about seeing a player maintain a connection with their college program. Mariota won the Heisman Trophy in 2014. He took Oregon to its first college football playoff national championship game. He was the number 2 pick of the draft in 2015. And more than 10 years later, he is still a legend in Eugene. That is loyalty. That is legacy. The program announced, we have Oregon legend and 2014 Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Mariota joining us as guest picker for this week. And after his appearance, Mariota will be inducted into the Ducks Hall of Fame during the game against USC. Now, I know what some are thinking. Why do we care about this? We have bigger problems. And you are right. But let me tell you why this does matter. In an era where college players jump from program to program looking for nil deals, where loyalty seems like a thing of the past, Mariota represents something different. He represents what it means to be part of something bigger than yourself. Dante Moore, the current Oregon quarterback, said about Mariota, growing up, he was a quarterback everyone loved to watch. He is definitely a GOAT here at the University of Oregon. He is someone as a quarterback you just love to watch play, seeing him in the NFL currently and in college making plays. But overall, just gotta give him his flowers, his kudos. He deserves it for sure. And do you know what I love about that? That the next generation recognizes greatness. That Moore, who could be thinking only about his own future, takes time to honor who came before. Mariota won 36 of his 46 games as quarterback of the Ducks. He has more than 10,000 passing yards in his career, more than 100 touchdowns through the air and 29 more on the ground. Those numbers are historic for Oregon. Now, I ask you, what does this mean for the Commanders? Well, we have a backup quarterback who understands what it means to win at the highest level. We have someone who can mentor Jaden Daniels not just technically, but mentally, emotionally. Can Mariota still play at a high level? Probably not as a starter. But as a backup, as a mentor, as a presence in the locker room, his value is incalculable. And the fact that Oregon honors him in this way demonstrates the type of person and player he is. While Jerry Jones in Dallas brings in veterans who cause drama, while the Eagles deal with inflated egos, we have Mariota, a complete professional who understands his role and accepts it with grace. This weekend, while Mariota is in Eugene being honored, while he makes his picks on game day, I hope Jaden Daniels is watching. I hope he is learning what it means to build a legacy that transcends numbers, that transcends wins and losses. Because at the end of the day, that is what we all want, right? We want to be part of something special. We want that when Jaden retires in 15 or 20 years, Commanders fans talk about him like Oregon fans talk about Mariota. So there you have it, Commanders Nation. A mock draft that gives us hope for the future with explosive speed on both sides of the ball. Roster moves that demonstrate that Peters is building something real, something sustainable. And a reminder that legacy matters, that loyalty matters, that being part of something bigger than yourself matters. Now I ask you, after 6 straight losses, after all the frustration and pain, do you still believe in this team? Do you still believe that Peters can build something special? Do you believe that Jaden Daniels can be our Marcus Mariota, our legacy for the next decades? Leave me your answers in the comments. Tell me if you agree with these mock draft selections. Tell me if you believe Harris and Jackson can make a difference when they return. Tell me if you still have faith in this organization. And if you are part of this family, if you bleed burgundy and gold like me, then I need you to do something for me. Hit like on this video if you believe Bailey in the first round is the right play. Subscribe if you believe Branch in the third would be a steal. And share this video with every Commanders fan you know, because we need to stay united during these tough times. Because at the end of the day, we are more than a team. We are a family. And families do not give up when things get tough. Families fight. Families believe. Families win. And remember, hail to the Redskins!